Honourable Minister Outim.
Merci, Monsieur le Député Speaker. Je trouve cela assez regrettable qu'au moment que je m'apprête à donner la réplique au leader de l'opposition, il brille par son absence. Monsieur le Député Speaker, ce budget est à la fois courageux et responsable. Ah, merci de venir, Monsieur le leader de l'opposition. Courageux. Je disais donc que ce budget est à la fois courageux et responsable. Courageux quand ce gouvernement réforme le système de la pension de retraite qui n'est plus viable, et même s'il s'agit d'une mesure impopulaire. Courageux car il est tourné vers l'avenir en investissant dans l'innovation, l'intelligence artificielle, l'économie bleue et les énergies renouvelables, tout en jetant les bases d'une île Maurice plus productive, plus résiliente et plus inclusive. Responsable car des mesures ciblées sont mises en œuvre sans augmenter la TVA, sans augmenter l'impôt, sans augmenter l'income tax ou le corporate tax. Responsable aussi car malgré un contexte économique international difficile et des plus incertains, le Premier ministre a su contenir le déficit budgétaire à 3,7% du PIB et continue à réduire la dette publique. C'est un budget qui restaure la discipline fiscale tout en préparant Maurice aux opportunités de demain. Monsieur le Député Speaker, ce n'est pas possible pour moi de répondre à tous les points du leader de l'opposition dans le temps qui m'a été imparti et je laisserai donc le soin aux différents ministres et autres parlementaires de lui répondre. Cependant, il est important que je revienne sur la réforme du système de pension, car malgré la déclaration on ne peut plus claire du Premier ministre ce matin que la pension ne sera plus means-tested, le leader de l'opposition n'a pas revu sa copie. Revenons sur les raisons pour lesquelles on doit réformer notre système de pension, qui nous attire la foudre d'une partie de la population. Parce que, Monsieur le Député Speaker, le paiement de la Basic Retirement Pension, BRP, ou pension de vieillesse à partir de 60 ans, représentait 25% du budget de l'État. Et comme nous avons une population vieillissante, ce montant devrait s'accroître davantage chaque année. Si chaque année on doit dépenser plus sur la pension de vieillesse, cela veut dire que chaque année, on devra dépenser moins sur les autres items du budget, c'est-à-dire moins pour l'achat des médicaments, moins sur l'éducation de nos enfants, moins sur la construction des logements sociaux, moins sur la construction des drains, moins sur l'amélioration des infrastructures publiques, sur l'énergie renouvelable, sur l'environnement et sur toute autre dépense de l'État. Il faut bien comprendre cela, Monsieur le Député Speaker, car nos ressources ne sont malheureusement pas illimitées. Et en conséquence, dépenser plus sur un item budgétaire nécessairement équivaut à dépenser moins sur un autre item budgétaire. Et puis se pose la question de comment financer le paiement de la pension. C'est la population, au final, qui passe à la caisse et qui paye les pensions à travers la taxe. Et c'est surtout ceux qui travaillent qui payent le plus pour financer le paiement de la pension. Comme l'a souligné le Premier ministre dans son intervention, en 1962, la pension d'un retraité était partagée entre 16 personnes. Aujourd'hui, il est partagé entre 4,7 personnes et en 2049, en 3 personnes seulement. En d'autres mots, si notre système de pension n'est pas revu, dans les années à venir, nous et nos enfants devront travailler plus dur et payer plus de taxes pour payer la pension de vieillesse. Et emprunter pour financer le paiement de cette pension, comme l'a indécemment fait le précédent gouvernement, n'est pas une solution. Bien au contraire, cela empire les choses considérablement car en plus d'avoir à payer plus de taxes pour rembourser la dette, nous et nos enfants devront aussi payer davantage de taxes pour rembourser les intérêts sur ces emprunts. Et aujourd'hui, on doit payer 26,9 milliards de roupies chaque année que sous l'item des intérêts. 26,9 milliards de roupies, plus que le budget de l'éducation, plus que le budget de la santé, plus que le budget du logement. Donc, on fait quoi? On augmente la taxe, on augmente la TVA, on augmente l'income tax, on augmente le corporate tax, on fait comme le gouvernement MSM, après moi le déluge, je dépense, les autres vont devoir rembourser. Est-ce qu'on a le droit moral, Monsieur le Député Speaker, en tant que gouvernement, d'hypothéquer l'avenir de nos enfants et de leur imposer le fardeau de payer plus de taxes à l'avenir pour un système de pension que tout le monde sait n'est plus soutenable dans la durée? Nous avons eu le courage d'assumer nos responsabilités. Monsieur le député Speaker, comme annoncé l'année dernière, une commission d'experts indépendants a été mise en place pour réexaminer l'ensemble du système de retraite, y compris le National Pension Fund. Le mandat de cette commission a été défini en concertation avec le FMI et la Banque mondiale. La commission a présenté un rapport intérimaire, pas final. Et il y a plusieurs mesures très intéressantes dans ce rapport. La première, c'est la mise en place d'un nouveau Pension Regulatory Authority qui sera mandaté d'établir notre politique en matière de pension. Personnellement, je trouve cela salutaire. Laissons aux experts le soin de conseiller le gouvernement sur tout ce qui touche à la pension. Mais ce n'est pas, paraît-il, au goût du leader de l'opposition. Deuxièmement, mise en place d'un Central Pension Administration Bureau pour gérer tous les différents fonds de pension de l'État et répondre aux attentes des bénéficiaires. Là aussi, une mesure qui va dans la bonne direction parce qu'il améliore la gestion des fonds de pension. Troisièmement, la possibilité, et ça c'est très innovatrice, la possibilité pour une personne de percevoir une pension réduite à partir de 60 ans. Tout comme la possibilité pour une personne de décider de toucher une pension plus élevée après 65 ans. Pour moi, c'est l'aspect le plus innovateur des recommandations faites par la Commission. Parce que la plus grande critique qu'on a reçue l'année dernière, c'est que les gens qui ne pouvaient pas travailler, qui n'avaient pas les moyens nécessaires, ne touchaient pas de pension à l'âge de 60 ans. Malgré le fait que l'année dernière, on est venu avec un Income Support Scheme pour aider les plus vulnérables en leur donnant 10 000 roupies par mois, cette décision, on a voulu l'améliorer. Et la commission d'experts nous donne une possibilité de l'améliorer en donnant à le pensionnaire de choisir quand il veut prendre sa retraite. Et ce n'est pas nouveau. Quand vous allez dans tous les pensions, des systèmes de pension privés, on a toujours l'élément de early retirement. On peut toujours prendre un reduced pension si on décide de prendre sa retraite avant l'âge de la retraite et commencer à percevoir nos revenus des fonds de pension. Donc c'est la même logique qui a été appliquée pour le système universel de pension. Donc moi je trouve cela très innovatif et ça va permettre aux gens à partir de 60 ans d'avoir une pension. Bien que réduite par rapport à la pension qu'ils toucheraient à 65 ans, et ça permet aux gens qui décident de ne pas toucher leur pension à 65 ans, de toucher à 70 ans et d'avoir une pension encore plus élevée. La nouvelle National Pension and Provident Fund, qui remplacera l'ancien National Pension Fund, revu et amélioré, permettra aux employés d'avoir une retraite décente et adéquate. Les self-employed, travailleurs indépendants, ceux qui travaillent à leur propre compte, les travailleurs étrangers et même les étudiants pourront bénéficier de cette protection sociale. Là aussi, une mesure très innovante, une mesure qui mérite à être étudiée. Finalement, les ministres, junior ministers et députés percevront leur pension à partir de l'âge de 65 ans, au lieu de à la fin des 2 mandats, comme c'est le cas aujourd'hui. Et la révision du montant de leur pension dépendra du montant qu'ils ont contribué. On est en train de remplacer un système de defined benefit par defined contributory. Mais je dois comprendre que là aussi, le leader de l'opposition n'est pas satisfait parce qu'il a dit non, non, non à toutes les réformes proposées. Moi, ce que je demande maintenant aux leaders de l'opposition, nous, parlementaires élus en 2024, nous donnons l'exemple. Nous allons accepter de prendre notre pension à l'âge de 65 ans, en solidarité avec tous les autres Mauriciens. Est-ce qu'il va demander à son parti de faire le même? Ceux qui touchent en ce moment leur pension après 2 termes, 2 mandats, qui n'ont pas encore atteint l'âge de 65 ans, est-ce qu'ils vont donner l'exemple et être solidaires avec la population et refuser de prendre leur pension jusqu'à l'âge de 65 ans? Donc, Monsieur le député Speaker, Sir, la plupart des recommandations de la commission d'experts sont très raisonnables et tout à fait louables. Mais il y avait une recommandation qui a fait l'objet de critiques et c'était prévisible. Cela concerne l'adoption d'un means-tested system pour la pension de vieillesse afin de garantir que les ressources publiques soient ciblées pour venir en aide à ceux qui en ont le plus besoin. Et ce matin, nous avons rencontré le Premier ministre et les cadres de son ministère. Après discussion, le Premier ministre a décidé de ne pas aller de l'avant avec cet aspect du means testing, malgré le fait que cela va forcément impacter sur le déficit budgétaire et la dette publique. Je salue la décision du Premier ministre qui a écouté la voix du peuple et a pris la décision qui s'impose. Mais il semblerait, à voir la réaction de certains dans les bancs de l'opposition, que certains membres soient déçus par ce tournant des événements. Monsieur le député Speaker, Sir, avec votre permission, je voudrais maintenant vous parler des quelques mesures qui relèvent de mon ministère, le ministère du Travail et des Relations industrielles. Première mesure positive, l'augmentation du congé de maternité à 12 mois, dont les 6 premiers mois seront entièrement rémunérés et les 6 mois suivants peuvent être pris au choix de la mère à mi-salaire. Nous avons un faible taux de natalité. C'est une des raisons pourquoi on a une population vieillissante. C'est une des raisons pourquoi on a ce problème de pension, parce qu'on n'a pas assez de nouveau-nés. Les couples font de moins en moins d'enfants. Et une des raisons du faible taux de natalité est que les parents n'ont pas suffisamment de temps pour passer avec leurs enfants ayant leurs obligations professionnelles. Augmenter le congé de maternité et de paternité est un moyen d'encourager les couples à avoir plus d'enfants. C'est une mesure guidée par l'intérêt supérieur de l'enfant. Il s'agit d'un investissement dans la première année de vie d'un enfant et vise surtout à soutenir les femmes qui sont souvent confrontées au stress post-partum lié à un retour précoce au travail. L'Organisation mondiale de la santé recommande l'allaitement maternel exclusif pendant les 6 premiers mois de vie, puis la poursuite de l'allaitement par la suite. De nombreuses études internationales ont montré qu'un congé de maternité plus long contribue à un meilleur développement des enfants. C'est pourquoi le gouvernement a choisi d'accorder aux mères 6 mois de congé de maternité entièrement rémunérés, suivis de 6 mois supplémentaires pouvant être pris au choix de la mère à mi-salaire. L'augmentation du congé de paternité de 4 à 6 semaines est tout aussi justifiée car l'enfant a aussi besoin de la présence de son papa, surtout durant les premiers jours. Et quel meilleur cadeau pour la fête des pères que annoncer une telle mesure aux nouveaux pères. Je suis pleinement conscient que l'augmentation de congés de maternité pourrait décourager les employeurs à recruter les femmes. Mais le Workers' Rights Act et l'Equal Opportunities Act contiennent déjà des dispositions pour qu'il n'y ait pas de discrimination envers les femmes dans le recrutement et l'exercice de promotion. Mais au-delà de ces garde-fous, je pense sincèrement que le fait que les 6 mois de congé soient à mi-salaire devait servir d'incitation aux employeurs de revoir la structure de leurs entreprises pour favoriser le work from home et le flexi-time. Il sera probablement dans l'avantage de l'entreprise de laisser la mère travailler de chez elle en lui garantissant un salaire entier ou la permettant de venir à un flexi-time, peut-être 4 fois par semaine ou 3 fois par semaine, au lieu de la laisser rester à la maison et percevoir un salaire en demi-salaire. Autre mesure annoncée à la page 25 de l'annexe du budget est la mise en place d'un congé payé par mois au titre de congé menstruel. Aujourd'hui, les femmes qui travaillent bénéficient du même nombre de congés maladie que leurs collègues hommes, soit 15 jours par an. Mais nous savons tous que certaines femmes ont des douleurs intenses pendant leur menstruation qui les empêchent de travailler et les forcent à s'abstenir chaque mois. Au Japon, le droit au congé menstruel est inscrit dans la loi depuis, tenez-vous bien, 1947. La loi permet aux femmes de s'absenter de leur travail si elles souffrent de règles douloureuses. Initiative suivie par l'Indonésie en 1948, la Corée du Sud en 2001, Taïwan en 2013 ou encore la Zambie en 2015. En février 2023, l'Espagne est le premier pays en Europe à avoir adopté une loi créant le congé mensuel. Fait intéressant, Monsieur le Deputy Speaker, en Corée du Sud, la Cour a statué dans un cas qui concernait l'ex-CEO d'Asiana Airlines, condamné pour avoir systématiquement refusé d'accorder des congés mensuels au personnel de cabine. Et je cite, « Requiring proof of the existence of menstrual symptoms when requesting menstrual leave excessively infringes on the privacy and human rights of the workers and may discourage requests, rendering the system ineffective. » J'espère qu'une approche similaire sera appliquée à Maurice concernant les congés mensuels. Autre mesure qui a fait plaisir aux travailleurs, c'est bien la décision de décréter lundi suivant comme férié au cas où un congé public tomberait un dimanche. Et je suis sûr que le leader de l'opposition, c'est, comme tous les autres membres de cette Chambre et la population, que chaque année, il y a une liste de congés publics qui est publiée et gazetted. Donc, si, ce n'est pas n'importe quel congé public, ce n'est pas n'importe quel congé, quelle fête qui tombe un dimanche, comme la fête de Pâques ou n'importe quelle fête qui tombe un dimanche, que nécessairement le lundi suivant doit être férié. C'est seulement si un congé public tombe un dimanche que le lundi suivant sera un congé, sera férié, et c'est une avancée pour les travailleurs. Monsieur le Deputy Speaker, durant l'année écoulée, mon ministère a renforcé les systèmes et contrôles internes et a modernisé nos processus afin de garantir un service plus efficace et plus réactif. Nous avons le Labour Division Management Information System est entré en opération et les plaintes peuvent maintenant être enregistrées et suivies en ligne. Cela va réduire considérablement les délais dans le traitement des dossiers. Mon ministère a organisé l'année dernière les assises du travail et depuis le mois dernier, on a reconstitué le National Tripartite Council et sa première réunion a été tenue le mois dernier. Comme je l'avais annoncé l'année dernière, nous n'allons pas suivre ce qui a été fait par le précédent gouvernement et d'introduire des réformes en loi du travail dans le Finance Bill. Au contraire, après consultation à travers le National Tripartite Council, on va venir avec un projet de loi qui sera débattu devant cette Chambre sur tous les aspects du droit du travail. On m'a posé beaucoup de questions, il m'a posé aussi la question au ministre Soubron, qu'est-ce qui va arriver à la proposition de la semaine de 40 heures prévue dans notre programme gouvernemental. Cette question a été traitée au niveau du National Tripartite Council et je dois dire que je remercie le ministère des Finances qui nous a donné une dotation budgétaire cette année pour faire une étude approfondie sur l'impact d'une telle mesure et les secteurs et entreprises qui devront être exonérés de cette mesure de 40 heures. Mais cela ne remet nullement en question notre décision que durant notre mandat, on va venir de l'avant avec cette mesure pour instaurer la semaine des 40 heures. Au niveau de... On n'a pas entendu aussi le budget, Monsieur le Député Speaker, pour élaborer un protocole national relatif au heavy and torrential rain qui sera applicable à tous les travailleurs qui n'exercent pas dans les emergency services. Dorénavant, il n'y aura plus de discrimination entre les travailleurs du secteur privé et des fonctionnaires en cas d'avis de flux torrentiel, car ce gouvernement a à cœur la sécurité de tous les travailleurs, indistinctement s'ils sont des fonctionnaires ou du secteur privé. Nous avons aussi passé plusieurs régulations pour améliorer la sécurité et la santé au travail. La sécurité de nos éboueurs a été renforcée afin de leur garantir un environnement de travail sûr, présentant un risque minimal de chute ou de contamination par déchets, ce qui est très important vu les cas de leptospirose. Les éboueurs ne devront plus voyager dans des véhicules qui transportent les déchets, à moins qu'il y ait une cabine spéciale à cet égard. Avec l'aide du Bureau international du travail, nous travaillons sur des guidelines pour assurer la santé mentale des travailleurs. Auparavant, les officiers de Rodrigue n'étaient ni consultés ni impliqués dans le processus décisionnel et je suis heureux d'annoncer que les Occupation Health and Safety Officers de Rodrigue ont été nommés membres de l'Advisory Council for Occupation Safety and Health. En ce qui concerne l'emploi, selon les chiffres publiés par Statistics Mauritius, le mois dernier, le taux de chômage est passé de 6% à 5,7%. Mais en vérité, Monsieur le Député Speaker, la majorité des personnes qui s'inscrivent à nos bureaux d'emploi à travers l'île ont déjà un emploi et ils sont à la recherche d'un meilleur emploi. Ils sont surtout intéressés à travailler au gouvernement ou dans une collectivité locale. Par contre, le taux de chômage parmi les jeunes entre 16 et 24 ans reste relativement élevé à 18,4%. La cause principale de ce taux élevé de demandeurs d'emploi parmi les jeunes est le skills mismatch. Les emplois disponibles ne correspondent pas aux attentes et formations des jeunes. Je salue donc les nombreuses mesures annoncées dans le budget pour remédier à la pénurie de main-d'œuvre, combler le skills mismatch à travers les formations et préparer notre main-d'œuvre aux emplois de demain. Au niveau de mon ministère, un système d'information sur le marché du travail et une plateforme de mise en relation entre l'offre et la demande d'emploi basée sur l'intelligence artificielle sont en cours de développement en collaboration avec les pays amis. Concernant les travailleurs étrangers, la plupart des recommandations du comité interministériel que j'ai présidé sont déjà implémentées et le comité siégera à nouveau pour évaluer la situation. Pour remédier aux pénuries de main-d'œuvre dans tous les secteurs de l'économie, nous avons simplifié les procédures pour le recrutement et le transfert des travailleurs étrangers. Entre novembre 2024 et mai 2026, près de 55 000 permis de travail et certificats d'exemption ont été délivrés. Le Permission in Principle et les quotas ont été supprimés, mais le demandeur de permis doit démontrer son incapacité de recruter localement. L'embauche des travailleurs mauriciens demeure notre priorité. Les permis de travail sont désormais entièrement traités via le National E-Licensing System et des permis de travail numériques sont délivrés. Nous avons aussi commencé à livrer des cartes personnalisées avec un QR code aux travailleurs étrangers afin de mieux contrôler les travailleurs étrangers en situation d'égalité. En outre, pour garantir un recrutement éthique, le Private Recruitment Agency Regulation 2025 a été aligné sur les normes de recrutement éthique reconnues au niveau international. Toujours dans le cadre de la main-d'œuvre étrangère, nous avons récemment adopté the Occupational Safety and Health Centralized Lodging Accommodation Regulation. Cette mesure viendra en aide aux entreprises et particuliers qui pourront louer une chambre pour héberger un travailleur migrant plutôt qu'une maison entière, et cela permettra également d'éviter la prolifération d'hébergements dans les zones résidentielles. Monsieur le Deputy Speaker, avant de conclure, je voudrais juste commenter sur l'attitude du leader de l'opposition concernant l'intelligence artificielle. C'est clair, pendant 10 ans, son gouvernement, le gouvernement précédent, n'a pas cru dans l'intelligence artificielle. Parce que pour eux, un ordinateur va s'exploser si vous y insérez l'intelligence artificielle. Okay? Nous, au niveau de ce gouvernement, on croit dans l'intelligence artificielle, on croit dans la formation de nos jeunes, on croit dans les opportunités qui seront présentées à nous dans le cadre de l'émergence de l'intelligence artificielle. Et oui, je suis d'accord avec le leader de l'opposition qu'il faudra un investissement dans les infrastructures, il faudra plus d'énergie. Mais c'est un défi qu'on est prêt à relever si cela permettrait d'avoir une croissance plus accrue de l'économie et surtout donner un emploi à fort taux, à fort salaire à nos jeunes. Monsieur Deputy Speaker, Sir, le leader de l'opposition a terminé son intervention avec un extrait de Cholet. Terakia Hoga Kalia. Qu'adviendra-t-il de toi, Kalia? Je répondrai par une citation d'Allama Iqbal. Wohi hota hai jo khuda ko manzour hota. Ce qui s'adviendra, c'est ce que Dieu décide. Ça va se passer. Mais par contre, monsieur le leader de l'opposition, qu'est-ce qui va arriver à tous vos collègues qui font la queue de la Financial Crime Commission après avoir dévalisé les deniers publics? Merci.
Honorable Colette, you have 15 minutes.
Monsieur le vice-président, honorables collègues, dans les 15 minutes qui me sont accordées aujourd'hui, je serai très directe. Le budget est la preuve que l'État doit répondre aux cris de notre peuple, incluant leur indignation. Ce budget est réel. Il assure la continuité. Les services publics essentiels continueront. Il n'y aura pas de paralysie. Les fonctionnaires et les consultants seront payés. Les écoles resteront ouvertes. L'éducation reste gratuite. Les hôpitaux fonctionneront avec des services de santé gratuits. Mais au-delà des chiffres, il y a les besoins concrets de Rodrigue. C'est vers ces réalités que je veux maintenant tourner l'attention de cette Chambre. Rodrigue a traversé des pandémies, la hausse des prix, la criminalité, la corruption, les drogues, les réformes des pensions, les pénuries, les inondations, les tremblements de terre et la sécheresse. Nos aînés et la working class du jour sont inquiets face aux réformes des pensions. Ils ont accepté des sacrifices, mais ils espèrent vivre aujourd'hui et demain dans la dignité. Ces fardeaux que Rodrigue partage au sein de la République sont lourds. Ils touchent chaque foyer et c'est pour cela que la stabilité budgétaire est indispensable. La stabilité dans l'organisation des finances publiques est vitale, Monsieur le Vice-président. Sans stabilité, il n'y a pas de confiance. Sans confiance, il n'y a pas de développement durable. Le gouvernement, ce n'est pas seulement les ministres et les commissaires. Le gouvernement, c'est nous tous, incluant le peuple qui nous a fait confiance depuis novembre 2024. Je remercie le Premier ministre qui a montré qu'il est à l'écoute du peuple. Quand une mesure sème la panique ou la confusion, c'est louable et il est bien que le gouvernement la révise. Merci beaucoup. Mais la stabilité seule ne suffit pas. Le développement passe par l'efficacité administrative. Il est urgent d'aligner nos lois et procédures, par exemple sur la facilitation des affaires et le traitement des demandes de baux et licences commerciales ou entreprises touristiques. Les règlements de Rodrigue ne sont pas tous alignés avec ceux de la République dans ces domaines. L'excuse de la spécificité ne s'applique pas ici. Qui répondra de cette injustice, Monsieur le Vice-président? Les entrepreneurs et les travailleurs indépendants de Rodrigue ne doivent pas être freinés par des démarches trop longues, trop complexes, trop incertaines. Nous voulons produire localement et contribuer dans notre économie, faire l'argent rouler dans le pays. On parle souvent d'autonomie de Rodrigue, mais pour beaucoup, ce mot reste abstrait. Rodrigue n'est pas indépendante. Rodrigue est autonome. Cela veut dire que nous gérons certains domaines localement, mais toujours dans le cadre de la République. Pour que chacun se situe et se positionne clairement, il faut revisiter cette autonomie sous l'angle de la décentralisation. La décentralisation, c'est rapprocher les décisions du peuple. C'est donner aux institutions locales les moyens d'agir tout en restant dans l'unité nationale. Ainsi, quand nous, à Rodrigue, nous demandons l'adaptation des mesures nationales, nous ne demandons pas un privilège. Nous demandons simplement que la décentralisation soit réelle, que l'autonomie soit vécue et que chaque Rodriguais puisse voir la République dans son quotidien. Les ministères doivent établir des calendriers clairs et préciser la collaboration attendue avec la AAE qui agit au nom et pour le compte du gouvernement central depuis 2001. Autonomie sans moyens, c'est une illusion. Décentralisation avec moyens, c'est une justice. Au-delà des dotations budgétaires, au-delà des 11,2 milliards de roupies de dotations dédiées à Rodrigue, il est essentiel que Rodrigue bénéficie pleinement des mesures nationales. Les programmes d'innovation et de recherche doivent inclure Rodrigue pour que nos jeunes créatifs puissent contribuer et bénéficier des bourses nationales. Au moins 1 ou 2 jeunes de Rodrigue doivent être éligibles aux bourses pour start-ups innovantes afin que l'innovation soit une réalité dans notre île. La NLTA doit être mandatée pour Rodrigue afin d'assurer un service de transport public fiable, régulier et adapté à notre réalité insulaire. Nos forces de l'ordre sont démoralisées. Elles doivent recevoir reconnaissance, moyens et soutien pour assurer la sécurité et la confiance. Et j'ajoute le soutien aux artistes et aux travailleurs culturels de Rodrigue. Ils portent notre identité, Monsieur le Vice-président. Ils créent de la valeur. Ils méritent le même respect que les autres secteurs économiques. Les Renewable Energy Incentives doivent être adaptés, appliqués et vécus par le peuple de Rodrigue, car nous sommes une partie intégrante de la République et nous demandons justice et équité dans chaque secteur. Nous voulons que Rodrigue garde son cachet, c'est vrai, mais Rodrigue doit avancer au même rythme que l'île sœur, excusez-moi. On doit garder son authenticité, je suis d'accord. C'est la grande vision de l'organisation du peuple de Rodrigue aussi. J'en profite pour exprimer ma gratitude envers tous les collègues ministres et leurs ministères qui font l'effort de prendre connaissance des réalités de Rodrigue et de répondre à la mise en œuvre des politiques nationales à travers la AAE. Ils se reconnaîtront. Sport, éducation, TIC, coopérative, énergie, entre autres. Cet engagement démontre que la République fonctionne comme une seule nation, grâce à la collaboration et suivi des ministères de tutelle. Surtout, Monsieur le Vice-président, en ce moment, il est urgent d'obtenir une clarification sur notre hôpital Queen Elizabeth de Crèvecoeur. Est-il reconnu comme un hôpital régional? Si ce n'est pas le cas, quand son statut sera-t-il rehaussé au niveau des hôpitaux régionaux? Car sans ce statut, nous ne pouvons pas attirer les spécialistes, garantir des soins modernes et répondre aux besoins urgents de notre population. Un hôpital qui reste limité dans son statut, c'est une île entière qui reste limitée dans ses soins. Trop souvent, nos jeunes et nos patients quittent Rodrigue pour chercher des soins ou des opportunités ailleurs. Mais certains ne reviennent pas vivants. Ils rentrent au pays dans des cercueils et notre île est en deuil perpétuel. Nous devons agir pour que nos jeunes puissent réussir chez nous, que nos patients puissent être soignés chez nous. Préparons aussi nos jeunes de Rodrigue pour leur participation aux compétitions sportives de 2027. Ils seront notre fierté. Et pour que toute cette justice sociale soit réelle, il faut aussi agir sur les audits, Monsieur le Vice-président. Chaque roupie doit être utilisée avec rigueur et équité. Il faut agir sur les audit reports. Ces rapports ne doivent pas rester sur une étagère, ils doivent être suivis d'actions concrètes. Un audit ignoré, c'est une porte ouverte à la corruption. Un audit corrigé, c'est une garantie de justice sociale et de confiance retrouvée. Ce budget agit sur les inégalités de revenus par les pensions, la protection sociale, la lutte contre la pauvreté et le soutien aux petites et moyennes entreprises. Mais il faut aller plus loin pour une redistribution plus équitable des richesses. Nous savons que tout ne pourra être accompli en 12 mois, Monsieur le Vice-président. Mais ce que nous demandons, c'est de commencer maintenant. Chaque jour compte pour les familles, les jeunes, les patients, les travailleurs. La capacité de dépense de Rodrigue est limitée, c'est vrai, mais avec la solidarité nationale, l'île sœur peut aider la petite île. Ce budget-ci est une étape. Petit à petit, tikou-tikou touiloulou. Rodrigue reste debout. Ensemble, avec courage et unité, nous devons transformer ce budget en progrès réel pour chaque famille et chaque secteur. Parce qu'un budget, c'est une question de dignité, de justice et de reconnaissance. Et je termine avec les paroles du Premier ministre, ministre des Finances, qui est aussi ministre de Rodrigue. Dans le budget speech du vendredi dernier, il nous a dit « Nous ne pouvons pas revenir en arrière et changer le début, mais nous pouvons certainement commencer là où nous sommes aujourd'hui et changer les résultats. Alors, comme un seul peuple et une seule nation, relevons ce défi. Merci beaucoup. »
Honorable Duval, 15 minutes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that is. Monsieur le Deputy Speaker, j'ai écouté le ministre du Travail. J'ai noté qu'il est solidaire avec les députés pour la réforme de la pension de l'Assemblée nationale. Il a oublié de dire seulement que la réforme ne s'applique pas à lui, étant donné son ancienneté. Et donc, lui ne touchera pas la pension à 65 ans, mais à n'importe quel moment, irrespectif de son âge, en dehors du Parlement. Cette précision était importante. Vous savez très bien. L'année dernière, Monsieur le Vice-président, j'avais qualifié ce budget de budget d'amateur. Mais je m'étais trompé. C'est celui-ci qui remporte la palme. Rarement un gouvernement se serait trompé autant et aussi vite. Qui lui a donc conseillé de toucher aux pensions, encore une fois, à travers un Finance Bill, sans mandat, sans consultation? Et cette fois-ci, Monsieur le Vice-président, une responsabilité doit être assumée. Quelqu'un doit être tenu responsable. la personne ayant proféré ces conseils, cette personne, est-ce que sa tête, elle, tombera? J'ai écouté l'annonce du Premier ministre ce matin. Il a indiqué qu'il allait geler la proposition du ministre Testing sur la pension, se pliant ainsi à la colère populaire. Très bien, c'est tant mieux. Mais qu'il ait le courage d'avouer que cette réforme de la State Age Pension sera tout simplement abandonnée. Il est temps de dire aux gens ce qu'ils doivent entendre. Il est inutile de tenter de se sauver la face sur cette réforme. C'est trop peu, trop tard. Le gouvernement doit aller plus loin, Monsieur le Vice-président. Il doit rendre au peuple le système de pension qu'il lui a enlevé, sans mandat, sans légitimité. Car même avec le gel du State Age Pension, la première trahison, elle, celle de repousser l'âge à 65 ans, demeure tout entière. Pour cette année financière 2026-2027, l'ancien système aurait coûté environ 57,6 milliards de roupies. Avec la réforme de la BEP à 65 ans, ce montant tombe à 53,7 milliards. Donc 3,9 milliards de moins. 3,9 milliards, Monsieur le Vice-président. Et au total, sur la durée du mandat jusqu'à 2029, l'écart serait entre 10 milliards de dollars. Appelons les choses par leur nom. Si la première réforme coupée en retardant la pension par 5 ans, la deuxième réforme, elle, tentait de couper en refusant carrément la pension à bon nombre de personnes. Et malgré les applaudissements des membres du gouvernement ce matin, face au recul du gouvernement sur cette deuxième réforme, je le redis, la première, elle, reste de mise. Et Monsieur le Vice-président, la population n'a jamais voté ni pour le ministre Testing, ni pour la pension à 65 ans. Elle avait voté au contraire pour la dignité de ses aînés, pour le système qui existait avant les élections. Et mon message, il est bien simple. Abandonner toutes les deux réformes sur la pension. Retourner au système d'avant les élections. Reculer complètement. Et aujourd'hui, le gouvernement veut taxer plus. J'ai entendu le ministre Outim sur la taxation. Et je vais lui répondre. Le gouvernement veut taxer plus et veut retourner moins. Qu'est-ce que représente 3,9 milliards de roupies dans l'ensemble du budget aujourd'hui? À peine 1,5% des dépenses budgétaires de cette année-ci. Les recettes fiscales depuis la venue de ce gouvernement collectées sur le dos de la population ont augmenté par 35 milliards de roupies, soit 9 fois plus que ce qu'on demande aujourd'hui sur la pension de retraite. Et d'ailleurs, taxer, c'est facile, Monsieur le Vice-président. La vraie difficulté, c'est de réduire le gaspillage, c'est de corriger les inefficacités, de relancer la croissance. Voilà ce qu'on attendait sur ce budget. Et le gouvernement ne peut-il pas faire un effort, Monsieur le Vice-président, à ce sujet? Si le gouvernement veut réellement couper, qu'il commence au sommet. Le Prime Minister's Office lui-même ne fait aucun effort de réduction. Les dépenses, au contraire, augmentent. Si on voit les dotations pour le Private Office and Ceremonials du Prime Minister, on réalise qu'elles augmentent de 63 millions depuis le nouveau régime. Hausse des salaires des conseillers, l'organisation de fêtes, de réceptions, la fête nationale, les frais légaux, tout augmente. Et si on prend les augmentations sur 5 ans, les dotations budgétaires, ça représente 283 millions par rapport à l'ancien régime. 283 millions. Donc, le gouvernement n'a fait aucun effort sérieux sur ses propres dépenses. Et la liste est longue des dépenses. La liste est très très longue. Les gaspillages aux missions à l'étranger, comme j'ai démontré ici moi-même à Addis Abeba. Des millions de roupies gaspillées dans les logements sur des années pour satisfaire les caprices de certains. Alors que des millions, des centaines de millions avaient été investis dans des logements officiels. La location de berlines de luxe qu'on a vu, les caprices de luxe par le chairman d'une institution qui paie plus de 60% de son eau dans des tuyaux baissés. La liste est trop longue et le temps trop court. Alors, avant de couper les pensions, Monsieur le Vice-président, coupez d'abord ce qui est gras au sommet. Que dire sur le coût de la vie? Quelle est la vraie réponse du gouvernement? Les familles peinent à remplir le panier. La réponse du gouvernement, subventionner ceux qui vendent les produits. La grande solution, mettre 2 milliards de roupies par an dans la chaîne de distribution. Distributeurs et supermarchés. Le ministre Sikian donne 2 milliards de roupies aux supermarchés, Sikian entre autres, parmi d'autres. Quelle brillante idée! Et le peuple souffre à la caisse. Et le gouvernement soulage les intermédiaires. 2 milliards de subventions pour un marché annuel.
If you are making a personal attack against Minister
Not at
Sikian
all.
and referring to the supermarket
Not at
Sikian,
all.
you should withdraw that.
Not at all. If Sikian supermarket has not been a beneficiary, then it would be, but not at all.
You have to be-
Not at all. 2 milliards de subventions pour un marché annuel de consommation d'environ 500 milliards. Ça représente à peine 0,4% du marché, ce qu'on subventionne. Ce n'est pas une stratégie. Ce n'est pas une attaque contre les marges excessives, comme promis. Ce n'est pas ça, casser les monopoles, malgré les promesses. Ce n'est pas ça, ouvrir la voie aux importations parallèles, malgré les promesses. Ce n'est pas ça, réduire le coût des médicaments, malgré les promesses. C'est en fait donner l'illusion d'agir sans toucher aux vrais problèmes. D'un côté, 2 milliards de subventions. De l'autre côté, la TVA imposée dès à 3 millions de roupies de chiffre d'affaires. La TVA prélevée en plus sur l'essence. La taxe sur le sucre, dont les recettes passent de 1 milliard à 2,6 milliards. 150% d'augmentation. Et finalement, la taxe de 2 roupies sur les produits en plastique. Le résultat, des recettes fiscales qui atteignent un niveau record de 198 milliards de roupies, pour répondre à l'honorable Outim, 35 milliards en plus. Et donc, ils vous donnent un œuf dans une main et vous reprennent un bœuf dans l'autre. Voilà ce que le gouvernement fait réellement aux consommateurs. Regardons les chagos. 10 milliards de perdus l'année dernière, 10 milliards cette année-ci, 20 milliards fantômes dans le budget. Et avec la démission du Premier ministre anglais ce matin, qui peut dire aujourd'hui réellement quand cette affaire sera réglée? Tout cela parce que le gouvernement a ignoré les appels des Britanniques et des Américains à conclure l'accord une fois pour toutes avant l'arrivée de Trump. Je devais dire plutôt le gouvernement d'alors. Il y a eu une recomposition depuis, mais 20 milliards tout de même fantômes dans ce budget. Et cet argent des chagos aurait suffisamment et largement aurait été largement suffisant pour protéger la pension à 60 ans. Il en resterait même pour quelques années de l'argent de surplus. Le gaspillage, le ministère de la Sécurité sociale lui-même, celui qui s'occupe des pensions, continue d'être accablé par un manque de faiblesse et de contrôle, par sa mauvaise gestion, par son manque de coordination avec l'immigration, l'état civil et d'autres institutions. Et le résultat, 230 millions chaque année payés à tort en aide sociale et en pension à des bénéficiaires non éligibles, comme soulevé dans le dernier rapport du directeur de l'audit. Les mêmes manquements, année après année, aux frais du contribuable. C'est-à-dire, c'est à croire que le directeur de l'audit produit ce rapport inutilement quand on lit les solutions apportées. Avant de couper les pensionnés, regardez d'abord et réparez d'abord le ministère qui laisse l'argent des pensionnaires fuir. Il y a aussi des choses qu'il faut tout simplement se débarrasser. Le poste de vice-président. C'est dommage que l'honorable Shakil Mohamed n'est pas là. Il se rappellera, lui, de l'engagement pris pour abolir ce poste. Un poste qui coûte 100 millions de roupies sur la durée d'un mandat. Sans compter les voyages, les coûts de sécurité et bien sûr sans compter les privilèges à vie des ex-présidents. Avant de couper les pensions, coupez les privilèges. Puis il y a les ministères des Affaires étrangères. Depuis l'année financière 2025, les frais de nos ambassades ne cessent d'augmenter. 203 millions additionnels, on est appelé à voter, là, pour le frais des ambassades. Maurice doit, encore une fois, je le répète, une fois pour toutes, adopter un modèle diplomatique plus léger, axé sur le modèle singapourien, avec des ambassadeurs non résidents, quand la charge du travail est plus faible. J'avais dit, je redis, en Malaisie, en Russie, en Allemagne, au Caire, au Mozambique, pour nommer quelques-uns. Il y en a d'autres. Avant de couper les pensions, couper les dépenses inutiles à l'étranger. Il y a les projets qui ne sont simplement pas prioritaires. 455 millions de roupies pour rénover la Clarice House, dont 100 millions cette année-ci. Où est l'urgence? 2 milliards de roupies pour l'autoroute M4 à Forbach. Est-ce là vraiment une urgence? Qui a réellement besoin d'une route reliant le nord à l'aéroport aujourd'hui en urgence? Hormis les ministres qui voyagent autant qu'on a vraiment besoin. Sur l'inefficacité du cargo handling, le gouvernement avait voté l'année dernière un budget promettant d'améliorer la productivité du port. L'objectif, 25 mouvements de containers par heure. Au lieu de cela, Monsieur le Vice-président, la productivité qui était à 23,5 mouvements l'année dernière a reculé à 22 mouvements par heure. Nous avons payé pour une amélioration, nous avons obtenu une détérioration. Sur 750 000 containers qui ont été handled, ça représente plus de 4 000 heures de grues supplémentaires. Et quand on calcule les frais d'opération de la cargo handling, ça représente 343 millions de roupies de productivité perdue. Et maintenant, le gouvernement veut exposer la cargo handling à la concurrence directe d'un opérateur privé qui sera sans doute infiniment plus efficace. Alors, est-ce que le gouvernement renforce-t-il vraiment la cargo handling ou prépare-t-il discrètement sa mise à mort? Et cela m'emmène à l'un des échecs les plus graves du budget, le law and order. Monsieur le vice-président, c'est le sujet le plus important. Ce gouvernement aime parler de liberté, mais la liberté ne peut pas vouloir dire laisser faire. Le taux de crime est en augmentation. Chaque semaine, nous voyons des policiers impuissants, insultés, agressés, blessés, incapables de se protéger. Et pour aller vite, quand on regarde la dotation budgétaire, on a l'impression qu'on met plus d'argent dans l'équipement et dans l'opération. Ce n'est pas vrai. Sur les 1,6 milliard additionnels qu'on donne à la police, 79% de cette augmentation va à la compensation des salaires à cause du PRB. Seulement 7,3% va aux Capital Expenditures and Assets. C'est donc pas un renforcement sérieux. Pire, Monsieur le Vice-président, si on enlève de côté le Coastal Surveillance Radar, qui n'est pas quelque chose de nouveau, c'est remplacement seulement d'un radar qui est arrivé à terme, à sa fin de vie, et qui a été entamé par l'ancien gouvernement. Mais si on enlève cet item extrêmement onéreux du budget, on réalise que les actifs opérationnels chutent de 847 millions pour l'année financière 2025 à 713 millions pour cette année financière. Une baisse de 15,8%, 133 millions, sans même tenir compte de l'inflation. Ce n'est pas dire qu'on équipe la police. Quand on regarde dans les détails, la vérité est qu'on fait moins bien cette fois-ci. Et la police est beaucoup trop mal équipée, mal préparée. Les forces modernes, Monsieur le Vice-président, quand on regarde les forces de police modernes, équipées de leurs radios, de leurs body cameras, des gilets de protection, des menottes, des matraques, des pepper sprays, des trousses de premiers soins, des mobile terminals, de leurs véhicules correctement équipés. Et quand on regarde l'allocation de 120,9 millions pour les équipements opérationnels cette année-ci, on réalise que sur 13 862 policiers, on prévoit uniquement 8 700 roupies par policier, 160 €, alors que dans les forces modernes, l'équipement personnel pour un policier se chiffre à 5 000 €, 274 000 par policier. Ici, on budgète à peine 3% de ce qu'il faudrait pour équiper correctement un policier en fonction. Si le gouvernement était sérieux, il aurait augmenté tout de suite cette dotation de 120 millions à 3 milliards. Pour terminer, Monsieur le Vice-président, les postes financés par la police, crime fighting, est réduit par 1095. Crime control and investigation passe de 9 431 à 8 336. Moins d'équipements, moins de recrues, moins de policiers. Comment donc on va pouvoir pallier à la hausse de criminalité? Ce que les gens ont besoin, Monsieur le Vice-président, c'est une présence policière efficiente, que les enquêtes aboutissent. D'après le rapport du directeur de l'audit, 250 000 enquêtes ouvertes n'aboutissent pas. Pour une population d'1,2 million, c'est choquant, Monsieur le Vice-président. Seulement 4% des enquêtes aboutissent chaque année dans ce pays. Et aujourd'hui, elle va régresser. Pour finir, un bilan ne se juge pas, un budget ne se juge pas à la taille de ses annonces. Il se juge à ce qui arrive réellement sur le terrain. Sur Law and Order, j'ai démontré, ce budget ne descend pas sur le terrain. Il ne garde même pas les pieds sur terre. L'intelligence artificielle occupe le devant de la scène dans ce budget, dans le précédent, sans aucun résultat concret. 10 sur 10 en matière d'annonces, 0 en exécution, et alors que des milliards de roupies de médicaments, par exemple, continuent à être gérés sur papier, dans des stores dépourvus d'électricité, que la digitalisation est toujours un mirage à ce jour dans tous les services essentiels, les transports publics, la santé, les collectivités locales. Non seulement pas informatisés, aujourd'hui on nous parle d'intelligence artificielle. Avant de rêver d'intelligence artificielle, Monsieur le Vice-président, il faudrait d'abord faire preuve d'un peu d'intelligence humaine sur les réalités de la situation de notre pays. Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Honorable Juan, 15 minutes.
Merci, Monsieur le Vice-président. Après avoir écouté le leader de l'opposition et le whip de l'opposition parler d'un gouvernement amateur, I would like to tell them that ce n'est pas l'amateurisme, mais plutôt la grandeur d'homme. I had a very high esteem for you, Honorable Prime Minister, but today my esteem for you is higher. Grand est celui qui écoute et agit en fonction de la demande de la population, et c'est bien cela que vous avez fait aujourd'hui. Of course, some clarification will follow about the state age pension. The Honorable Whip of the Opposition also said that taxer c'est facile. Ah bon? Only some weeks back, the leader of the PMSD warned us n'a pas tous TVA. Vous pouvez veiller à ce que le gouvernement pas tous TVA. Alors aujourd'hui, venez dire que taxer c'est facile. This is absurd. This is absurd, Honorable Whip of the Opposition. In fact, members of Parliament, inflation affects each and every one of us. So it affects, of course, the government also. And if inflation affects the government, if the expenses of the government are increasing, ça coule de source that we have to generate more revenue. And the major source of income to the government is through taxes. I can't imagine the Honorable Whip saying that the motorway M4 is not necessary. It is a waste. It is a waste of money. So what should we do then? We stop all development in this country? Exactly. We will put it where it is required. And I would like the Honorable Whip of the Opposition to come with proof and not malicious and frivolous accusations that the Sikian supermarket got X million rupees from the stabilization fund. Monsieur le Vice-Président, having listened to the speech of Honorable Duval on the budget 2026-2027 and read to some of his comments as to the belief that this budget will not change the lives of people, I said, okay, maybe on Friday, I said, maybe on Friday, when the Honorable Prime Minister was delivering his speech, the honorable member was thinking elsewhere as it was a Friday. His thoughts were elsewhere. But coming today, after having read the budget speech and the annexes thoroughly, and claiming that the same thing, that this budget doesn't contain anything de concret, allows me to conclude that, unfortunately, my good friend cannot do two things at the same time. He cannot understand while reading or understand while listening. Honorable Jival is in fact unable to concede that this budget is in fact improving the life of each and every citizen in one way or the other. You want an example? I can give a list. The extension of the maternity and paternity leaves improves the lives of newborn babies and new parents. Increasing the education budget by 2.6 billion rupees is because of our deep conviction that no child should be left behind. Combating drug proliferation, maintain law and order is to protect each family and their members. Financial retirement benefits to fishers is being upgraded from 200,000 to 300,000. Carers allowance, as you just said, are being increased from 3,500 to 4,250 rupees. The budget of the science special education needs is being increased to 619 million rupees. 2,220 medical and paramedical staff, including nurses, will be recruited to the benefit of the whole population. All the incentives being given to boost startups, assist SMEs, and generate growth will be to the benefit of the business community and society at large in terms of higher income, employment, and a better standard of living. Honorable Jival has kept on complaining about noise pollution through his PQs every week. Accordingly, the fines for such crimes is being doubled. Honorable members, including my good friend Jival, will have to wait for their 65th birthday henceforth. I don't know whether you are eligible for pension, unlike as it was before. Maybe this explains his disappointment. Somehow, as compensation, there will be no increase in the rates of excise duty. There will be no increase in the rate of excise duty on wine and beer. I say cheers to my friend. To the benefit of the painters of this country, there are many. There will be no betting tax on painters, but instead on the net gains of bookmakers. And I would like to take paternity for this as it was following my PQ. Monsieur le Vice-Président, allow me to quote Franklin Roosevelt. In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. And this is what happened this morning. Madam Speaker, Monsieur le Vice-Président, we are where we are, but we must not forget how did we reach here. How can the population forget the dire financial predicament left by the previous government? Les mauvaises langues vont dire that we are spending time talking about the legacy of the previous government. Yet, let me remind this august House that a week is a long time in politics, where political fortunes can shift. But 18 months or so, Monsieur le Vice-Président, is absolutely nothing to fundamentally redress the economic foundation of the country. We cannot forget that they left our country with an unsustainable public sector debt of 642 billion, representing 90% of the GDP. A budget deficit of 9.8% of GDP. Sorry. 180 billion rupees of reckless printing of money, and a huge trade deficit of 203.7 billion rupees, representing 29.4% of the GDP. All this implied that we were living beyond our means, which means that we were living dangerously. Monsieur le Vice-Président, when a country inherits deep structural imbalances, soaring inflationary pressures, and a debt mountain with depleted reserves, it is not a magic wand which is needed, but instead it demands iron hands like that of our honorable Prime Minister. Monsieur le Vice-Président, while the honorable Prime Minister does not have a baguette magique, yet he has a boussole, a compass with a clear orientation, a definitive vision, and a precise roadmap to drive this country towards a resilient and inclusive future. After only 1.5 years, inflation, which peaked at a devastating 11.3% under the previous government, was relatively moderate between 3.7 to 4%. Unemployment rate fell from 6% to 5.7% in 2025. This is a 3-decade low. While the previous government created only around 13,000 funded jobs over the last 10 years, this government has already created 6,000 funded jobs already. Total investment in the country stood at 146.7 billion rupees in 2025, slightly above the figures of 2024. The tourism sector remained a key growth engine with more than 1.5 million tourist arrivals, representing a record earnings of 103.4 billion rupees and record arrivals. The financial services sector recorded a robust growth of 5% in 2025, and that of the ICT stood at 4.5%. The GDP growth is projected at 3.2% in 2026 and to strengthen to 4% in 2027. Budget deficit is estimated at 3.7% for 2026-27 and targeted at 3% for 27-28.
You have 3 minutes to go.
The public sector debt is expected to fall to 85.5% of the GDP, and gradually and realistically, this is expected to fall below 80% of the GDP by June 2029. Monsieur le Vice-Président, while the figures speak for themselves, while we have such a positive economic outlook, yet some are saying un budget bad bâti. Maybe be bad de la tête. To these critics, I will say, rends aux critiques, halte la case. Monsieur le Vice-Président, beyond these figures today, our institutions are more independent than ever before. The police, the FCC, and the office of the DPP operate without any interference. To my dismay, members of the opposition are invited to debate on the budget at the MBC, where I was invited to. Parliamentary democracy has been restored with not a single member being suspended or ordered out from this assembly. Freedom of expression and personal data protection is a reality. to fight against drugs, the fight against drugs is ongoing with another 80 million rupees provided to the NADEC. To uphold law and order, 14.2 billion has been earmarked. 656 million for the modern vehicles and equipment for the setting up of the National Crime Agency. Monsieur le Vice-Président, the essence of any budget must be geared towards its people in terms of more job opportunities, welfare benefits, higher standards of health and nutrition, better education, a clean environment, greater individual freedom, and a richer cultural life. However, a nation cannot deliver true prosperity and protect its people without sustained and inclusive economic growth. The stark reality is that prosperity without growth is not possible. Monsieur le Vice-Président, this budget proves that economic growth is the engine of social progress. It is through growth that we can finance the 6.4 billion investment over the next 3 years to guarantee water access to all, begin the construction of the Rivière des Antilles Dam, and execute the vital 25 by 35 food security project. To this end, the government is unleashing a startup revolution and consolidate the important role played by the city.
Gentleman, I'm giving you 1 extra minute to conclude.
Setting up a special economic zone together with a startup economic ecosystem and an income tax holiday of 10 years for startups. Investing on AI and digital transformation, implementing the island container terminal project worth $1 billion USD, a GTG with the government of India, allocating 1 billion to diversify our tourism sector. Monsieur le Vice-Président, economic growth and price stability are considered to be the twin objectives of any government. One need not be Milton Friedman to know that inflation is taxation without legislation, or inflation is a tax on the poor. In order to curb inflation, there are a series of measures which are being used to stabilize price and ensure a proper distribution of essential items, which my friend, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, will elaborate. Monsieur le Vice-Président,
To conclude,
while many prophets de malheur were expecting a rise in the VAT, including the leader of the PMSD, they were deceived to hear that the VAT remains at 15%, together with many essential products having a zero VAT. To conclude, Monsieur le Vice-Président, all these were relative to the old age pension, but fortunately, I will just come to the conclusion. This budget was a good budget, but since this morning, it has become a better budget, which is realistic, realizable, and responsible. Thank you for your attention.
thank you. Honorable Babaji.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Okay, come on. Yes,
Mr. Deputy Speaker, before doing my speech, I would like to comment on some of the views of our two speakers on the other side, and even my colleague next to me. Let me remind the two opposition members and the population that when we inherited this government in 2024, the economic situation was a disaster. And if last year we did not come with a responsible and tough budget, today there would have been no margin to do whatever has been presented in this present budget. And I don't see how come they can come and criticize this budget. After COVID-19, after listening to the leader of the opposition, where he's criticizing all factors and also criticizing the measures we are still awaiting to come, I would like to remind him that since COVID-19, when Mauritius was closed, unpredicted, what are the measures his government came with to expand the economy? First, to bring a different sector apart from the tourism, and to bring Mauritius autonomous. But today with this budget, if we have a good analysis of this budget, we are expanding our economy, we are creating different pillars, and we are bringing more focus on energy. Because whatever he said on AI, energy, or the crash of our energy system, we can see this government is responsible and foresighting the energy sector. Mr. Deputy Speaker, today we stand at a decisive moment in our nation's history. A moment where courage, responsibility, and vision are required to secure a better future for ourselves and for the generations yet to come. This budget 2026-2027 presented by our government is not merely a financial document. It is a roadmap for the future of Mauritius and a bridge built not with emptiness but with courage, responsibility, and a clear national vision to the future. Every bridge is built with a destination in mind. It is a budget built on three fundamental principles. First, protecting our people. Second, restoring economic strength. And third, preparing our nation for the opportunities of tomorrow. First and foremost, this budget puts people at the center of development. Economic transformation has no meaning if ordinary citizens are left behind. At a time when families around the world continue to face the pressure of rising prices and economic uncertainty, our government has chosen not to abandon the most vulnerable among us. And I'm sure tomorrow my friend Sikuen will give the list of facilities provided. It has taken responsible measures to protect those who need support the most and to ensure that the benefits of development are shared more fairly among all Mauritians. A society is not judged only by the size of its economy or the height of its buildings. It is judged by how it treats its elderly, its workers, its young people, and those facing difficulties. This budget reflects the values of solidarity, compassion, and social justice that have always been part of the Mauritian identity. However, a responsible government also understands a simple truth. We cannot build a strong social system without a strong economy. That is why this budget places a major emphasis on economic renewal, productivity, and investment. For many years, Mauritius has proven that a small island can achieve great things. From sugar-based economy, we transform ourselves into a successful country with strong tourism, financial services, manufacturing, and modern industries. Today, the world is changing again, and we must change with it. This budget opens the doors to a new era of opportunity by investing in innovation, digital transformation, artificial intelligence, financial technology, and green industries. It sends a clear message to our youth. Your future is not limited by the size of our island. Your talent can compete with the best in the world. To our young graduates and students, this budget says, we believe in you, we will invest in your skills, and we will create an environment where your ambitions can become reality. To our entrepreneurs and small businesses, this budget sends another important message. Government understands that businesses are the engines of job creation. By improving the investment climate, supporting innovation and encouraging enterprise, we create more opportunities for employment, higher incomes, and greater prosperity. Mr. Speaker, we must also speak honestly about the challenges before us. Mauritius, like many nations, faces the challenge of managing public finances carefully. We have ambitions for our people, but we also have a duty to protect the financial stability of our country. This budget takes the difficult but necessary path of fiscal responsibility. It recognizes that borrowing endlessly is not a solution. Every rupee borrowed today is a burden that future generations may have to carry tomorrow. We all know the economic situation inherited by this government in 2024. However, despite seeing this situation well in advance, since COVID-19, the previous government stayed blind and no action was taken. Instead, they kept dilapidating the public funds just to stay in power. Therefore, measures to control spending, improve efficiency, and ensure that public resources are directed where they are most needed are not signs of weakness. They are signs of mature and responsible leadership. Some reforms may require adjustment. Some decisions may not be easy. But leadership is not about choosing the easiest path. It is about choosing the right path. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this budget also recognizes the importance of environmental responsibility. Mauritius is among the countries most exposed to the consequences of climate change. Rising sea levels, extreme weather, and environmental degradation represent real threats to our economy and our way of life. By encouraging sustainable development and green industries, we are not simply protecting our environment. We are creating new economic opportunities and ensuring that our children inherit a country that is cleaner, safer, and more resilient. The greatest strength of Mauritius has never been its size, its natural resources, or its geographical position. Our greatest strength have always been our people, the determination of our workers, the creativity of our entrepreneurs, the wisdom of our elders, and the dreams of our youth. This budget is a vote of confidence in the Mauritian people. It says that we are capable of facing challenges, adapting to changes, and building a stronger nation. Of course, no budget is perfect, Mr. Deputy Speaker. No government can solve every problem overnight. The true success of a budget depends on implementation, cooperation, and the collective effort of all sectors of society. The government has presented a clear direction, a Mauritius that is more productive, more innovative, more financially responsible, and more inclusive. Let us therefore move forward with confidence and determination. Let us support reforms that secure our future. Let us encourage our business to innovate and workers to upgrade their skills, and our young people to aim higher than ever before. The choices we make today will determine the Mauritius we leave to our children tomorrow. A stronger economy, a fairer society, a sustainable future. That is the promise of this budget. A bridge from uncertainty to confidence, a bridge from dependency to innovation, a bridge from today's challenges to tomorrow's prosperity. Long live the Republic of Mauritius, and may our nation continue to progress in unity, peace, and prosperity. Thank you, Mr. Deputy.
Thank you. Honourable Dogao.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I rise today to contribute to the 2026-2027 budget, the second budget of this government. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, while the economists, analysts, policymakers may focus on figures, the vast majority of the population at the moment is asking one simple question: will this budget make our lives easier? And they are right to do so. Mr. Deputy Speaker, at the previous elections, we know the people voted for transformation. They voted for meritocracy. They voted for cheap food. They voted for dignity. And they voted for a clean state. And I know, and all of us recognize here, that that is the standard that they have set for us. And they are right to do so. And the budget somehow, in general terms, recognizes those aspirations, Mr. Deputy Speaker. all of us here acknowledge that the population's expectations are a reminder of the responsibility that each one of us carries in this House. Yes, we made promises to the population, yes, and unfortunately we have not been able to fulfill all of them. But it is equally true, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that during the past 1.5 years we have tried our level best. The Honourable Prime Minister has tried his level best to honour those commitments that did not impose a major financial burden on the economy. And I'm here referring specifically to the urgency given to the restoration of the dignity of the people of Mauritius. And, Mr. Deputy Speaker, maybe we keep repeating that we are living in times of uncertainty. And unfortunately, in these times of uncertainty, what happens is you have leadership demands both prudence and compassion. And I would go further. It demands compassion, balancing compassion with responsibility. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I think all of us, all Mauritians would have to admit that when we assumed office, I remember we all knew, the population knew that we would inherit a difficult situation. Some of us even described it while assise do en caray. So this is what we had stated. But the reality, unfortunately, Mr. Deputy Speaker, turned out to be even more severe than anticipated. With a budget deficit standing at, our public debt standing at nearly 90%, our room for maneuver is unfortunately extremely limited. And what can we do? We cannot commit, one thing for sure, we cannot commit the same mistakes as the previous government that is spending more than our means. And the only option that we have today is to protect people today without bankrupting their tomorrow. So this is what this government and the Honourable the Honourable Prime Minister is doing. And that being said, responsible leadership requires honesty. That being said, we cannot hide and we will not hide behind excuses. Yes, global inflation exists. Yes, wars exist. Yes, supply chain disruptions exist. And yes, sometimes maybe revenue may depend on external timing. Yet, Mr. Deputy Speaker, while we cannot control what is happening beyond our shores, we can control how we respond to them as a nation. And so today, through the measures in this budget, we begin delivering further. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this budget responds directly to the concerns and challenges faced by our citizens. It is a declaration that the cost of living will be fought with urgency. And I think my honourable member will agree with me, having an economic background, that somehow this budget, it balances it seeks to strengthen the resilience of our economy against external pressures, while on the other it protects the purchasing power of the vulnerable households. I am here referring to STC bulk purchasing, profit capping margins, subsidies on certain selected goods. I think no one can deny the fact that this will provide much needed relief to many households. However, if state intervention is to translate into cheaper and lower prices, I am of the opinion, and I think we need to ensure that those benefits are effectively passed on. And how can that happen? This requires, Mr. Deputy Speaker, transparent procurement processes, robust market monitoring, and strong and solid market oversights. Mr. Deputy Speaker, while measures to ease the cost of living is important, yet they are not enough on their own. And the real and lasting solution is to help Mauritians earn more. And how can we do that? That can only happen if we create more opportunities, attract investment, improve our skills, and generate better paying jobs. This is exactly what this budget is doing. It recognizes that reality. And I welcome the government's significant investments in artificial intelligence. I'm quite puzzled with the leader of the opposition, and I humbly cannot follow his reasoning as far as AI is concerned. I remember, this was one of my first parliamentary questions. What is the vision of the government when it comes to AI. And I'm happy much emphasis is being made regarding AI. And I personally believe that if it is properly implemented, AI will create better paying jobs for our citizens. That being said, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I know for a fact that in the short run, what we'll have to do, we will have to rely on foreign expertise. And in fact, the Honorable Prime Minister did address that. But I would urge you, the Honorable Prime Minister, to ensure that foreign expertise complements Mauritian talent rather than replaces it. Because at the end of the day, the objective must be meaningful skills transfer, knowledge sharing, capacity building, developing a national capacity so that our Mauritians are better equipped to face the future. At its heart, Mr. Deputy Speaker, this is a budget of social justice, providing relief where it matters most. I think even the leader of opposition had to admit this. It helps the vulnerable. And I'm here talking about the massive investment regarding utility. We are all in agreement here in this House that utility cannot be considered a luxury. It is today a basic necessity. And I think we all agree here that no family should be able to choose between paying bills and meeting the other basic needs. So I am pleased, personally, coming from representing number 13, we are pleased that the long-awaited infrastructure works as regards Rivière des Anguilles Dam will finally commence this year. Relieved, and thank you to my constituency for their patience. But I nevertheless would like to add a few words on number 13. I think number 13, the South more particularly deserves way more in terms of infrastructure. And I hope with the budget allocated to the Ministry of Sports, at least number 13, the South may benefit from a fully equipped sports complex or stadium in the region, because this is the only constituency, district that has no stadium. And I will obviously take the opportunity once again to thank my constituency for their support, understanding, and patience. And talking of support, that does not mean they have to print my photo. People will understand that. They do not have to print my photo on a sticker to please me. I know there was no ill intent. I know I have your support, but I will respectfully ask anyone trying to show support, please refrain from doing anything that can lead to that can be unnecessarily misconstrued or give rise to misunderstanding. I know Mr. Deputy Speaker is quite puzzled, but recently a well-wisher did take my photo and print it on a sticker, and that gave rise to me having to reply many messages. And I know he did not have an ill intent behind these gestures, and I'm deeply grateful to my constituencies for such kind gestures. And I will also like to comment on the extension of the maternity leave. There is no doubt that giving a mother 12 months will encourage bonding both between the mother and the child during the crucial stages of life. However, I somehow quite follow the reasoning adopted or expressed, the concerns expressed by many women that if this is not properly implemented, it may inadvertently contribute to discrimination against women. And for that matter, I did a homework. I went to women themselves, business entrepreneurs, and I asked them whether you will employ young women. And the majority of them said no. Unfortunately, we'll give priority. So this confirms somehow that it will inadvertently lead to discrimination. So I would have been more inclined for a balanced approach, Mr. Deputy Speaker. An approach where we are talking about gender equality we should not use gender equality to tick a box. To me, it should be gender equality in the real sense. If you want to promote gender equality, I think shared parenting and shared caregiving would have been a more balanced approach. And that would also change the mentality and ensure that even men feel that they have the duty to look after their child. And I know I know so many of them who are wonderful fathers. And in this regard also, I would also like to address something that we hear very often in the public. people expect us to share in their sacrifices. And this is why I commend the measures taken as regards public office holders. That was, to me, it makes sense. And in any case, nothing affects me because I haven't used my duty-free entitlement till now, so I'm safe. But that being said, I will also like, just as my other friends have done here, to congratulate the Honorable Prime Minister for his humility in bringing corrective measures this morning regarding the BRP. Because I remember, they are not wrong to say that, I was quite puzzled when I heard eligibility assessment and SAP and everything. So thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for your humility and wisdom as well. So, and overall, I will not be too long. I will only...
You got 3 minutes only.
3 minutes only, so I'll be done in 3 minutes, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Overall, I support the budget because it is built on responsibility, solidarity, economic efficiency, and social justice. This budget is strategically coherent with what we said last year, but delivery heavy. Its success depends less on the number of measures announced and more on execution, discipline, public communication, and institutional capacity. And I'm confident that we will carry out those obligations responsibly. And I know the Honorable Prime Minister will do so responsibly. But before concluding, let me make a respectful appeal to the Honorable Prime Minister. At paragraph 347 of the budget speech, the Prime Minister, you mentioned that every young person in Mauritius deserves equal hope and opportunity. Let us not sugarcoat the situation. There is yet another reality, and sometimes one of the deepest wounds of our society is the perception, and maybe sometimes the reality, that appointments are not based on merit. And when this is the case, this perception destroys hope. This perception destroys ambition, and this perception destroys national unity. So this is why I believe that it is high time that a young Mauritian must know for a fact that competence matters over political colors. And because we know for a fact that when opportunities are distributed fairly, people are encouraged to do their best. But when they are not, frustration and cynicism take root. So I therefore urge you, and the government, of course, to do everything within your power to ensure that competence, integrity, and merit remain the guiding principles behind every appointment. Because, I repeat it, the message to our youth must be clear. In Mauritius, your future should be determined by your ability, your character, your effort, and not by your political color. So I will conclude, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. This budget may not contain all the measures, every measure that people had hoped for, but it charts a realistic and responsible path forward. It is a budget of repair, truth, and transition. And the only thing that we retain time and again is that it recognizes that no country can protect its people tomorrow if it refuses to manage its finance today. And we thank you. I've thanked you a couple of times, but I will thank you once again for choosing responsibility over complacency. And maybe we as a nation, what can we do? We can choose solidarity over division. And many of us here stated that a budget is judged by the difference it makes to our citizens. When an elderly citizen feels secure, when a family has hope for the future, when every Mauritian feels that progress is within reach. That is the Mauritius our citizens voted for. That is the Mauritius we have a duty to build for our parents, for our children, for the generations that will follow. On this note, I commend the budget to this House. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Kazian.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the debate on the 2026-2027 budget and to express myself for the vision laid out by this government for a stronger, more inclusive and future-ready Mauritius. This budget comes at a time when global economy is undergoing profound transformation. Nations are adapting to rapid technological changes, geopolitical uncertainties, climate-related challenges, and shifting patterns of global trade. In this context, Mauritius cannot afford to remain a simple witness. We must position ourselves as a competitive, innovative, and resilient economy capable of creating opportunities for future generations. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, one of the most forward-looking measures announced in this budget is a government commitment to explore opportunities in artificial intelligence, infrastructure, and AI-enabled services. I must say I was quite disappointed this morning when hearing comments coming from the opposition side, which clearly demonstrate that they don't believe in such a powerful tool of artificial intelligence. A quick search on the net would display that generative AI reached 61% adoption in Singapore and 54% in the UAE, which demonstrates that it is in an ascending side. Artificial intelligence is no longer a concept of the future. It is already reshaping industries, transforming productivity, and creating entirely new economic sectors. Countries that invest today in AI infrastructure, digital skills, and innovation ecosystems will become tomorrow's economic leaders. I therefore welcome the government initiative to make provision for funding the establishment of a national AI learning platform. Such a platform will democratize access to knowledge and ensure that students, entrepreneurs, professionals, and workers from all backgrounds can acquire the skills necessary to thrive in a digital economy. This initiative is particularly important for our youth. It will provide opportunities for continuous learning and help bridge the gap between education and employment. More importantly, it will ensure that technological progress does not benefit only a select few, but becomes accessible to all Mauritians. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm particularly encouraged by the government's determination to democratize the economy. For too long, access to economic opportunities has often been concentrated within limited circles. This budget seeks to open new doors for innovators, entrepreneurs, and small businesses. The proposed SME bill represents a significant step in that direction. The small and medium enterprises remain the backbone of our economy. They generate employment, stimulate innovation, and contribute substantially to economic growth. The proposed creation of a hub within the upcoming Special Economic Zone is another commendable measure. This hub will foster collaboration, encourage investment, and create high-value jobs for our citizens. By creating a more supportive legislative framework for SMEs, government is sending a clear signal that entrepreneurship should not be reserved for a privileged few, but should be accessible to every Mauritian with innovative ideas, determination, and ambition. Another major pillar of this budget is the implementation of the Island Container Terminal project. I know my colleague, Honourable Chairman, had a few words on it. This project is not merely an infrastructure investment. It is a strategic national project that will redefine Mauritius' role within the regional maritime landscape. The expansion of our container handling capacity and storage facilities will allow Mauritius to accommodate larger vessels and improve port efficiency. In an increasingly competitive global environment, modern port infrastructure is essential to attract international shipping lines and facilitate trade. The vision of transforming Mauritius into the leading transshipment hub of the Indian Ocean deserves our full support. This project will strengthen our position as a bridge between Port Louis and the African continent. It will enhance regional connectivity, stimulate trade flows, and create significant economic opportunities in logistics, warehousing, shipping, and related services. As Africa continues to experience economic growth and increasing trade activity, Mauritius is uniquely positioned to serve as a gateway between Asia, Africa, and the wider world. The Island Container Terminal project is therefore an investment in the future competitiveness of our nation. I also welcome the decision to unlock and revolution the SMEs potential through an accelerator scheme driven by the Economic Development Board. However, while this initiative is commendable, I respectfully submit that Economic Development Board should adopt an even more proactive approach regarding the development of our Freeport zone. The Freeport remains one of our strategic economic assets. There is considerable potential to expand activities related to regional distribution, value-added processing, logistics services, and international trade facilitation. I would therefore encourage the EDB to engage in broader consultations with stakeholders, investors, operators, and industry experts to identify new opportunities for growth and expansion. At the same time, continuous efforts must be made to strengthen the ease of doing business. Investors seek predictability, efficiency, and responsiveness. By improving regulatory processes and enhancing coordination among institutions, Mauritius can further consolidate its reputation as a preferred investment destination. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, water security remains one of the most important challenges facing our country. I welcome the provisions made in this budget to improve water accessibility and storage facilities for our citizens, but also expanding our national water catchment capacity and undertake the drilling of 20 additional boreholes. These investments demonstrate government's commitment ensuring sustainable access to water for our population. However, I wish to draw the attention of the House with regards to the specific challenges faced by many residents in constituency number 4, the regions of Vallée des Prêtres, Cité-la-Cure, Batry-Cassé, Briqueterie, Notre-Dame, Mont-Taillon, Les Moyennes, and Crèvecoeur continue to experience significant difficulties in accessing reliable water supplies. Many families struggle daily with irregular water distribution, inadequate pressure, and recurring shortages. Access to clean water is not a luxury. It is a fundamental necessity. I therefore respectfully appeal to the Honourable Minister to give serious consideration to this region when prioritizing future water infrastructure projects. Targeted interventions in these areas would significantly improve the quality of life of thousands of residents. Furthermore, there has been a noticeable increase in the number of damaged water pipes across several localities. Every day, considerable quantities of treated water are lost through leakages. Such losses represent not only a waste of precious resources, but also place additional pressure on our already constrained water supply system. I therefore call upon the relevant authority to strengthen the technical repair teams by providing additional resources, equipment, and manpower. Faster intervention and repair times will help reduce water losses and improve overall service delivery. A nation cannot truly prosper if its citizens are unable to access decent, affordable, and secure houses, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. Home ownership remains one of the most important aspirations of Mauritian families, providing stability, dignity, and a foundation upon which future generations can build their lives. In this regard, I warmly welcome the government's commitment to allocate funds for the construction of 8,000 social housing units project in response to the growing demand for affordable housing. This initiative reflects the government's determination to ensure that economic development translates into tangible improvements in the living conditions of our people. As land prices, construction costs, and housing demand continue to increase, low-income and middle-income families find it increasingly difficult to access suitable accommodation. The construction of these additional social housing units will provide much-needed relief to thousands of families who have been waiting for an opportunity for years to own or access a decent home. Beyond addressing housing needs, this program will also stimulate economic activity through the construction sector, create employment opportunities, and contribute to the development of more inclusive and resilient communities. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, housing is not simply about providing a roof over one's head. It is about creating safe and dignified living environments where families can thrive, children can succeed, and communities can prosper. I am confident that this ambitious program will significantly improve the quality of life of Mauritian families and contribute to building a more inclusive society where every citizen has the opportunity to live in dignity and security. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, while strengthening community policing is essential in building trust and cooperation between citizens and law enforcement agencies, we must also ensure that our institutions possess the necessary capabilities to confront increasingly sophisticated forms of criminal activity. It is therefore with great interest that I welcome the government decision to establish the National Crime Agency, a landmark reform that has the potential to revolutionize policing and criminal investigations in Mauritius. The nature of crime is evolving rapidly. Criminal networks are becoming more organized, more technologically advanced, and increasingly transnational. Challenges such as trafficking, financial crimes, cybercrime, money laundering, human trafficking, and organized criminal activities require specialized expertise, advanced intelligence capabilities, and stronger interagency coordination. The creation of the National Crime Agency represents a decisive response to these emerging threats. This institution will enhance our national capacity to investigate complex criminal networks, strengthen intelligence gathering, improve operational efficiency, and facilitate greater collaboration between law enforcement agencies and international partners. More importantly, it demonstrates government's commitment to modernizing our policy framework and ensuring that Mauritius remains one step ahead of criminal organization and threaten the safety and security of our citizens. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, drug abuse continues to devastate families and communities across our nation. No region is immune from its destructive consequences. Behind every addiction lies a human tragedy, affecting not only the individual but also parents, spouses, children, and entire communities. I therefore welcome the resources allocated to the National Agency for Drug Control. The agency has an important responsibility not only to combat illicit drug activities but also to support treatment, rehabilitation, and reintegration programs. Our response to drug addiction must be comprehensive. Enforcement alone is not sufficient. Prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation must remain central pillars of our national strategy. In this regard, I wish to raise concern regarding the current arrangement for methadone distribution at Abercrombie Saint Croix. While methadone treatment remains an important component of addiction management, the current system presents challenges but deserves urgent attention. Many beneficiaries require not only medication but also proper medical supervision, counseling, and rehabilitation support within a dignified and structured environment. To conclude, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, this budget charts an ambitious course for Mauritius. It embraces innovation through artificial intelligence, supports entrepreneurship through the SME bill, strengthens our position as a regional logistic hub through the Island Container Terminal project, promotes investment through regulatory reforms, address critical water infrastructure needs, and reinforce our efforts to address the law and order situation and the fight against drugs. At the same time, we must remain attentive to the everyday concern of our citizens. Economic growth must translate into improved living conditions, better public services, and greater opportunity for all. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, this budget provides the foundation upon which we can build a more resilient, innovative, and inclusive Mauritius. For these reasons, I wholeheartedly support the budget 2026-2027 and commend the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance for the vision and direction it provides to our nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Dr. Ovia.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to share my views and opinions on the current budget speech. This is being my 7th speech since I've joined this Parliament, and it has always bring its lots of expectations, hopes, anticipations, and deceptions for a very few. I would also like to make one comment on what the leader of the opposition said this morning in his speech, where he mentioned that this budget is a bluff 4 times. I would like to remind him, but he's not here, but I'm sure he's listening somewhere, that the biggest bluff this country has had was printing money by the former Minister of Finance and making the population believe that it was an economic boom, while in fact he sent us to an economic dark hole. Secondly, j'aurais failli à ma prestation ce matin, cet après-midi, si je ne dis pas quelque chose concernant le MINSTES, dont le Premier ministre a annoncé un freezing. La grandeur d'un homme ne réside pas dans l'infaillibilité de ses décisions, mais dans le courage de les réviser. Et il n'y a que les imbéciles qui ne changent jamais d'avis. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this budget has been prepared in very complex circumstances amid the raging war in the Middle East, which had collateral effects, particularly on the price of fuel and freight, upon which we import many of our commodities, affecting directly our industries, direct households, and our electricity production. However, one has to remember that we inherited a very drastic, disastrous economy from the previous government, and we are still trying to offset the tremendous damage that it has caused, as exemplified by the state of the economy presented to us by the Honourable Prime Minister in December 24. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I have to remind the House that managing finance of a country also means being responsible for the future generation, not forgetting we are constantly under the watch of international financial regulations such as Moody's, the IMF, the World Bank, and like those before us, who disregard the concerns of such an organization, but were more bent on printing money and distributing vouchers like Smarties, only and only for political mileage, irrespective that they were driving the state in an economic, as I said, black hole. Leur slogan se résumait à distribuer aujourd'hui et reporter la facture à demain. Our present government is about cutting one's coat according to one's cloth. Monsieur le Vice-Président, the leader of the opposition is allergic to reference being made to the previous government and management of finance, but unfortunately you'll have to hear it ad nauseum from us. We inherited the economy which was in a semi-comatose state, and the Minister of Finance, the Honourable Prime Minister himself, has had to take firm decisions in the last budget, and decisive measures this time, as well knowing quite well that some may not be popular, and attract likes, which so many are so bent on Facebook. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I will not make an analogy of the inheritance of the economy that we had to a patient in ICU. And I wish everybody who is sitting here, listening to me outside, everybody of you has had a friend, a relative, a neighbor who has been to intensive care unit. And I would like to tell you that this economy we rented was in ICU. A patient in this ICU in a semi-coma state is usually intubated with many of its organs affected and needs serious attention by team of doctors. Likewise, this economy needed and is still needing attention. Debt management, depreciation of the rupee, massive frauds in various sectors, MIC, Silver Bank, CEB, State Trading Corporation, Metro Express, even la caisse vide de la fameuse CSG. Likewise, the patient in ICU has to undergo various treatments, from delicate, risky surgeries, severe medications, and this is the same that we had to do to this economy. Difficult measures, sacrifices, adjustment of the repo rate, stabilizing the rupee, introduction of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and more but not least, pension reforms, which were unsustainable. We were told that ad nauseum by the former Deputy Prime Minister, this pension system cannot be sustained, will not sustain the future generation. Similarly, in ICU, we do at times, unfortunately, the Honorable Prime Minister being a doctor himself will agree with me, when we are in ICU, we have a team of doctors led by a senior consultant. And at times, one of the doctors, senior doctor, will leave the team because he has different opinion, he does not see the treatment going well, he thinks he knows better sometimes. This is the same happened to this government. We lost a senior member of the government who was sitting here only a few hours ago, has now gone. But the treatment will continue. The patient will survive. Everybody will support. Our fiscal responsibility will be maintained. We will bring the finance back to recovery. Our aim is to reverse the trend of high inflation rate. It was 13% at one time in 2014, and should bring it down now to 5%. High depreciation rate of 46% of the rupee against the dollar. I will reduce our public sector debt, which was at some time 58.5% and today nearing 90%, and reestablish the independence of the Bank of Mauritius. Unlike the previous government, they increased the debt ceiling from 60% to 80% just only to cook the books. I therefore urge everybody listening to me today to that analogy that I have made about an ICU patient and the state of economy. People, friends, relatives are prepared to have patience, time, and belief in the team of doctors to get the patient to get up on the bed and walk out of the doors and go back home. The same should apply to the economy we inherited. We must have time, patience, trust, belief in the team led by the Honorable Prime Minister. Positive change will come au grand dam des prophètes des malheurs and the pseudo-economists, keyboard warriors as I call them, who can refocus on negativity. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I will now say a few words on the health sector. At the outset, I welcome the budgetary decisions taken in regard to certain specific measures, particularly decreasing our dependence on sending patients abroad for all sorts of cases, when in fact we have a team of very well-able, competent surgeons and medical clinicians. And that's why I welcome in the budget 40 million rupees have been given for foreign experts to come here and help our people. And only those who really need to go abroad, where the services and the computers are lacking in Mauritius, should be sent abroad. And this also will curtail the over-enthusiasm of some organizations to send patients abroad for treatment that are well available in Mauritius. And I would welcome a rapid regulation from the Honorable Minister of Health so that we could cut down this abuse. Bone marrow transplant and advanced surgical cancer treatment are very easily, in my personal opinion, can be made in Mauritius with the help of foreign experts. And should we have them in this country, having the good logistics, the equipment, and the facilities, I'm sure will bring smile to patients who deserve it. An increase in the number of healthcare personnel is prioritized over the regular systemic reform that we had over the last 5 years when I was in opposition about bricks and mortars, cutting ribbons of every week of community health centers and area health centers. We need to know that the ratio of nurses to patient is paramount to competence, is very important to avoid shortcomings and to improve quality of care. The provision of subspecialized nurses in health is not a new concept. It has happened before in many developed countries, and that will only bring our standard of care to a different level. It will provide a well-added complementary service. The setting up of neurosurgical center with particular interest in stroke and aneurysm is commendable, as the incidence of chest cases on the rise. Since you have a very high prevalence of population with high-risk factors, this is in fact a smack in the face of the opposition when this neurosurgical intervention and suite was supposed to be installed in G2 Hospital, and if you look at the audit report of 2018, they stopped it only to send the money to the COVID fund, and there again they could not even pay the vaccine. We had to pay it for them. Now coming to maternity leave and menstrual leave. I can no better be happier than anybody in the house being a gynecologist. But saying that this will discriminate from women getting jobs because of the long 6 months maternity leave and the 6 months half paid, half they take it for themselves, does not stand, because at the moment the demographic approach of women is desiring to have a family, that is, women bearing, family bearing, is no longer between 18 and 24, 18 and 30, with family bearing cut across goes until 45. So you are not going to discriminate all women during their working life capacity. However, I would urge the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Health, with regard to the 6 months maternity leave, we should consider that the first month of it should be prior to their delivery date. It is within that month that all women have serious complications of pregnancy, from having blood pressure, from losing their babies, from falling on the street, from breaking their waters, from having to be delivered by firemen and policemen. We heard it recently. Women should take 1 month off prior to their delivery date and take the 5 months after. Paternity leave, it is important to give it because so many times I hear mothers who come to me and said, he only come and hold the baby when it's well powdered and perfumed, nothing else. At least they would learn the trick of making babies that they knew very well, but also how to handle it. Parallel import. A long-awaited decision for medication which will definitely bring down the prices of certain medicine for the whole of an aging population. It will be equally important, Mr. Honorable Minister of Health, that the certificate of good manufacturing practice be an exclusive requirement for those who are importing it. And, Mr. Deputy Speaker, our health service personnel are nowadays the victim of violent and aggressive persons that attend our hospital. That has been a very important concern by all personnel working in the health sector across board. I request the Honorable Prime Minister to give due attention to the demands of doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff, as to the provision of 24/7 of at least one police SSU unit in each hospital, which will do two things: act as a deterrent to prevent goons and violent people to act, and also to be at the dot of needing it when ambulances, some ambulances have to attend hot areas, which is sometimes problematic. Incentive to join the health center. I suggest that the Ministry of Health, either through the MIH or the nursing school, to have a visible presence at each university career guidance fair, to encourage our school leavers to join the profession, and also participation in job fairs organized by the Ministry of Labor also must be considered, so that the youngsters may see the beauty of the profession, but not only the pecuniary aspect of it. Madam Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, each scientific innovation should be accompanied by an appropriate regulatory framework to prevent deficiencies, misuse, and intended consequences. I therefore welcome the proposed setting of the dedicated healthcare, innovation and artificial intelligence unit in the context. Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me give a very brief example. I'm not going to run about the example of Goyab de Chine, but I'm going to use one very good one. ChatGPT diagnosed 40 million people with a disease that was invented as a joke. A completely fictional condition with a fake name, fake papers, fake statistics. The disease was called, listen very well, Mr. Shakil Mohammed, he likes medicine. The disease was called Bicksonimania. It rhymes with pneumonia, anemia, osteopenia, all these diseases that have a nia in it. A Swedish researcher at the University of Gothenburg, 2 years ago, invented it. And why did he do so? He wanted to know when you plant fake medical information on the internet and watch how AI absorbs it. By April 13, 2024, Microsoft Bing's Copilot, Google's Gemini, Perplexity AI, OpenAI ChatGPT was telling users that the symptoms match the fictional illness. Be very careful of you. 1 in 90,000. A precise statistic was given. A fictional disease was established as a medical fact for a disease that never exists. A masterclass in how misinformation operates. Luckily, in April 2026, just 2 months ago, a study published in the British Medical Journal of Open confirms leading AI chatbots to common health questions contain misleading or problematic information. The Bicksonimania, which never exists, is strikingly precise because it was engineered to be obviously fake. So don't take, as I said it, that what AI says is gospel truth, but we have to move with technology. We have to follow what happens in technology, and to all AI enthusiasts, because it's going to incorporate in so many ministries, we need to be followed with care and proper training by those going to use it.
I am giving you 1 more minute to conclude. Additional minute, you have already.
1 more minute.
Additional minute to conclude.
Yeah. Law and order. The extra funding given to the police as drug fight must be relentless, and if needs be, all police must be properly equipped with body cams and be armed to send a powerful message to non-law-abiding citizens such as drug peddlers and barons. Drug peddlers, also known as jockeys, must be taken off the street heavy-handed. We should not handle them with gloves, otherwise they will destroy our society, they will destroy the youth of this country. Because they are the main elements in the drug business between drug traffickers and consumers. For the victims of society, the conversion of Old Flag Hospital into a rehabilitation center is conducive to rehabilitation and substitution treatment before reinsertion in the community. Mr. Deputy Speaker, le budget 2026 marque une refonte profonde de l'État-providence. Protéger les plus vulnérables, préserver la classe moyenne et mettre fin aux privilèges injustifiés. Les régimes préférentiels des élus et hauts responsables sont supprimés et les pensions ainsi que les points des présidents, vice-présidents actuels et anciens seront désormais imposables. Le signal le plus fort envoyé à la nation est celui d'une classe dirigeante qui accepte d'abord de s'appliquer à elle-même les efforts qu'elle demande aux citoyens. Pour conclure, je fais mention du principe inspiré du philosophe grec Aristote qui résume ce budget. La justice ne consiste pas à donner à tous la même chose, mais à chacun ce qui lui est dit. Bravo au Premier ministre et sa équipe pour ce budget innovatrice, courageuse en tout ce sens, que je recommande vivement à l'adoption de cette Assemblée. Merci de votre attention.
Thank you. Honorable Minister Gondia.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, when the people of Mauritius entrusted this government with the responsibility of leading the country in November 2024, they did not simply vote for a change of administration. They voted for hope, honesty, and courage. They voted, above all, for a better future for themselves and for the generations yet to come. Today, as we debate the budget 2026-2027, I am proud to say that this government under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Navin Chandra Ramgoolam, is honoring that trust. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, this budget is not an isolated exercise. It forms part of a coherent and progressive journey which began with the government program 2025-2029 and was reinforced by the first budget of this government. Last year's budget laid the foundations. This year's budget builds upon those foundations and takes Mauritius one step further towards becoming a future-ready nation. What is particularly striking, Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, is that in less than 2 years and through only 2 budgets, this government has demonstrated more courage, more vision, and more determination than the previous administrations managed to show in an entire decade. For 10 long years, difficult decisions were postponed. Structural reforms were avoided. Short-term politics prevailed over long-term national interests. Instead of preparing Mauritius for the future, the previous government chose complacency and convenience. We inherited an economy under pressure, weakened institutions, and a nation whose confidence had been eroded. We could have chosen the easy path. We could have continued to postpone difficult decisions and leave the bill to future generations. But under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Navin Chandra Ramgoolam, this government chose responsibility over populism, reform over stagnation, and nation building over political expediency. Because governing is not about winning the next election. Governing is about preparing the next generation. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, our second budget is not merely about figures and statistics. History will remember that when difficult choices had to be made, this government did not run away from its responsibilities. While others spent 10 years managing decline and avoiding hard truth, this government, in just 2 budgets, has had the courage to rebuild, to reform, and to lay the foundations of a stronger, fairer, and more resilient Mauritius. And that, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, is the true meaning of leadership. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, as Minister of Arts and Culture, I am particularly pleased that notwithstanding the many competing priorities facing government, due recognition has been given to artists, the arts, culture, heritage, and creative industries as important drivers of economic growth, social cohesion, and national identity. The measure announced in the budget speech by the Minister of Finance to amend the relevant legislation to provide proper recognition to artists as cultural workers respond to the long-awaited plea of the artistic community and show our firm commitment to this cause. For many years, artists have advocated for greater recognition of their contribution to society and the economy. Through their creativity, they enrich our national life, preserve our cultural identity, promote Mauritius internationally, and contribute to economic activity. This measure, therefore, represents a major step forward in recognizing their status and contribution. I am pleased to inform the House that my ministry has already engaged in consultations with artists and stakeholders regarding proposed amendment to the status of the Artists Act 2023. As was characteristic of the previous government, this legislation was prepared à la va-vite, without any meaningful and in-depth consultations with those whom it was intended to serve. The result, Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, is that we are today confronted with the irony of having a law that has already been promulgated, yet which remains unworkable because it failed to address the very concerns and aspirations expressed by artists themselves. Fortunately, Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, we are a caring government that believes in its people and in its artists. We have already referred a number of proposals put forward by artists themselves to the Attorney General's office, and I wish to reassure the artistic community that we will act. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, the measure of a one-stop shop for permits relating to events coupled with a commitment to deliver clearances within 15 days once again demonstrates our firm commitment to making life easier for artists and event organizers. It responds directly to one of the main concerns repeatedly expressed by stakeholders in the sector regarding heavy administrative procedures and lengthy delays. It is simply unacceptable that to organize a concert in Mauritius, up to 15 different permits have to be secured, with some authorizations taking more than a month. At times, obtaining all the permits felt more complicated than organizing the concert itself. I am pleased to inform the House once again that my ministry has already undertaken substantial preparatory work through the development of the Culture Desk project, which is now at an advanced stage in collaboration with the Economic Development Board. Within the next 3 months, the Culture Desk will become operational, and all procedures relating to the obtention of permits will be streamlined, simplified, and considerably expedited, ushering in a new era for the organization of cultural events in Mauritius. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, for many years, artists have repeatedly highlighted the need for a more structured mechanism to assist them not only in the creation of artistic works, but also in the development, promotion, and marketing of their projects. Regrettably, these aspirations had remained largely unattended. Today, as a listening government, we could not remain insensitive to this legitimate demand. The announcement of a creative arts and cultural development program backed by an initial allocation of 30 million rupees from the Lotto Fund is therefore a landmark measure. In addition, a further 11 million rupees has been provided under the budget of my ministry as direct support to artists. This brings total support to the sector to 41 million rupees for this financial year, compared to 21 million budgeted last year. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, for too long, many artists found themselves having to struggle and at times almost plead for the support they rightly deserved. This government believes that artists should not have to beg to pursue their passion and contribute to our national identity. We are restoring not only support, but also dignity and recognition to those who enrich the cultural life of our nation. This measure represents a paradigm shift in the manner government supported the artistic community. This program forms part of the government's broader vision to develop the creative economy as an emerging pillar of economic growth. The creative sector has enormous potential to generate employment, create wealth, encourage innovation, and contribute to exports through cultural products. My ministry will, in the coming days, based on suggestions obtained during the National Convention on Arts and Culture, start working on specific schemes which respond to the aspiration of artists. If need be, my ministry will hold consultations with the artists themselves to better understand the type of scheme that they would like to be put in place, so that we do not end up with non-implementable schemes or schemes which do not improve the conditions of the artists and not contribute positively to the development of the art. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, in parallel to the above measures, the budget also provides for the enhancement of the framework for better management and distribution of royalties to safeguard artists' interests and protect their rights. This responds to the long-standing concerns expressed by artists regarding the collection and distribution of royalties and seeks to restore confidence in MAZA. In this regard, government has already initiated concrete action through the launch of a procurement exercise for the conduct of a forensic audit of the accounts of the MAZA. The audit will inter alia examine the origin and status of an accumulated amount of approximately 95 million rupees earmarked for distribution. The findings of this forensic audit will pave the way for the restructuring process and ensure that MAZA operates in accordance with the highest standards of good governance and accountability. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the creative economy also includes our cultural heritage, which are our assets. It is most unfortunate that a country such as Mauritius, whose history has been shaped by successive waves of settlement, migration, and cultural exchanges, and which possess a rich and diverse heritage, does not presently have a flagship national institution capable of presenting the Mauritian creative milieu in a comprehensive and integrated manner. This measure of creating an artistic and cultural hub, which will comprise a national museum and a Galerie d'Art National, an interpretation center, and a center for performance, as well as training, will address this gap as it will reflect the richness and diversity of Mauritius and will contribute to the development of cultural tourism. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the initiative for Mauritius to host the Biennale de l'Océan Indien in 2027 is of strategic importance, not only for the artistic community, but for Mauritius as a whole. The Biennale will provide a prestigious regional platform bringing together artists, curators, cultural institutions, researchers, and creative practitioners from across the Indian Ocean region and beyond. This event will further reinforce Mauritius' position as a cultural hub in the Indian Ocean and contribute significantly to cultural diplomacy, cultural tourism, and the international visibility of our country. A national organizing committee will be set up shortly at the level of my ministry to kickstart the process of consultations. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, the creation of a new entity with the participation of the private sector dedicated to the rehabilitation and promotion of heritage sites is another innovative approach which will allow us to mobilize additional resources, strengthen partnerships with the private sector and friendly countries for the sustainable management of our national heritage assets. My ministry is actively working with a team from Expertise France and other stakeholders to set up this heritage entity. This initiative, complemented with a decision to revamp the National Heritage Fund to strengthen its regulatory functions and oversight mechanism, will enable us to adopt a more strategic approach to heritage conservation and management. My ministry has already started working on the new draft bill in collaboration with a team for Expertise France. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, we have at heart the preservation of our cultural heritage assets. One example is the National History Museum in Mayberg, which had suffered from years of neglect. This museum occupies a unique place in our national heritage landscape as a custodian of collections and artifacts which recount significant chapters of our history. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, I did not wait for this budget announcement to act. Since assuming office, I have already instructed urgent maintenance work at the museum, including the clearing of overgrown trees which after years of neglect had grown so much that I sometimes wondered whether they belonged to the museum or to the neighbors. The rehabilitation of this museum through the provision of funds to the tune of 100 million rupees is an investment in the preservation and transmission of our history to future generations. The project will improve exhibition spaces, modernize visitors' facilities, and significantly enhance the educational and tourism value of the museum. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, similarly to the renovation of the National History Museum, Mayberg, the investment of around 124 million rupees over the next 3 years for the upliftment of Le Monde Cultural Landscape World Heritage Site shows our commitment taken vis-à-vis UNESCO to preserve this site, which is a symbol of resilience, freedom, and human dignity, as Le Monde occupies a special place in our national consciousness. It is most unfortunate that the previous government did not do anything to preserve, promote, and enhance this site. As a responsible government, we now undertake to preserve the outstanding universal value of this site. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, while government is investing significantly in artists, cultural infrastructure, and heritage preservation, it is equally committed to ensuring that the institutions supporting the sector remain efficient, coherent, and fit for purpose. The reform announced in this budget will provide an opportunity to review existing institutional arrangements, strengthen governance, eliminate unnecessary overlaps, and create a more integrated framework capable of delivering better services to artists, cultural practitioners, and the public. Our objective is clear: to build stronger and more responsive institutions that are better equipped to meet the challenges and aspirations of the cultural sector of tomorrow. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, whilst the budget charts an ambitious course for the future, it is equally important to recognize that the transformation of the sector has already begun. When this government assumed office, it inherited a sector burdened by years of neglect, lacking strategic direction, and where many long-standing challenges had remained unresolved. We chose a different approach to listen first and act thereafter. In this regard, the National Convention on Arts and Culture marked a turning point. For the first time, artists, cultural practitioners, heritage specialists, event organizers, and representatives of the creative industries from Mauritius and Rodrigues came together through a structured national consultation exercise. Many of the measures announced in this budget are the direct outcome of those consultations and will continue to guide government's action in the years ahead. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, beyond premises, tangible progress has already been achieved. The Serres Constantin Theatre has reopened following renovation works after many years of closure. Significant headway has also been made on major projects, notably the new National Archives and National Library building at Réduit Triangle, Mocha, where 40% of the works have already been completed, as well as the renovation of the Sir Siv Sagar Ramgulam Memorial Center, which is now 95% completed. My ministry has also continued to support and recognize artists through various schemes and initiatives. The Artist Excellence and Lifetime Achievement Awards, organized this year, paid a fitting tribute to Mauritian artists whose contributions have enriched our cultural landscape and inspired future generations. These achievements demonstrate that after years of stagnation, the arts and culture sector is once again moving forward with purpose, confidence, and ambition. Mr. the Deputy Speaker, sir, Before I conclude, I wish to express my deepest gratitude to every cultural practitioner of our country, to our musicians, singers, dancers, actors, writers, poets, painters, sculptors, photographers, filmmakers, artisans, DJs, technicians, event organizers, heritage professionals, and to all those who, often away from the spotlight, contribute to the richness of our cultural landscape. To the 446 artists and cultural actors who participated in the National Convention on Arts and Culture, through your ideas, your recommendations, your criticism, and your patience, you have helped lay the foundations of a new chapter in the history of arts and culture in Mauritius. My heartfelt appreciation also goes to the elected and non-elected members of MASA and all parastatal bodies who falls under the aegis of my ministry, to l'Union des Artistes, to the Collectif Artistes Musical, and to the many organizations, associations, and collectives, both officials and non-official, which work tirelessly to defend and promote the interests of our artists. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your patriotism. Since I assumed office, I have always believed that decisions concerning the arts and culture sector should never be taken in isolation. I have listened to you, I have consulted you, I have welcomed your ideas, your suggestions, and even your criticism, because I firmly believe that no minister, no institution, no government can build the future of our arts and culture without the active participation of artists and cultural practitioners themselves. I also wish to convey my deepest appreciation to the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Navin Chandra Ramgoolam. For the first time, the budget explicitly positioned the creative industry as a strategic economic sector, not merely a cultural one. Our government aims to transform arts and culture into a source of investment, employment, tourism, and economic diversification. I cannot end this speech without expressing my sincere appreciation to all officers of the Ministry of Arts and Culture for their dedication and commitment. I am equally grateful to my colleague, the Honorable Junior Minister, Mrs. Véronique Legovin, whose unwavering support and close collaboration have greatly contributed to the fulfillment of our ministry's mission. She has been an invaluable source of support throughout this journey. In concluding his budget speech, the Prime Minister reminded us that ce budget n'est pas celui de la facilité, il est celui du devoir et du devoir de vérité. Monsieur le Président, c'est le chemin de la vérité, c'est le chemin du renouveau. Et pour reprendre les mots de Kaya, sans même s'aimer la lumière, sans même s'aimer nous bien passer. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you. I suspend the sitting for half an hour.